Hi, I'm Suneel Darshan. Do subscribe to Siddharth Kannan's YouTube channel now.
प्रोड्यूसर एंड डायरेक्टर सुनील दर्शन सर, कैसे हैं आप? आई नो आप बहुत हम्बल है, बट जब मैं आपके ऑफिस में आया, आप देखोगे मेरी आंख जो है ऊपर जाती है, लेफ्ट जाती है, राइट जाती है, बिकॉज सारे पोस्टर्स हैं इनके लेगेसी के. एंड आई वांट यू टू रीलिव अ लॉट ऑफ मोमेंट्स, सम गुड वंस, सम स्ट्रगलिंग वंस, एवरीथिंग. कहा जाता है कि जब अक्षय कुमार की करियर सही नहीं जा रही थी, उनके 14 फ्लॉप्स हुए थे लगातार. सुना है कि आपने उनको गाइड किया, सुनने में आया है, उनको एक अच्छी फिल्म दी और उनको वापस रेजरेक्ट किया. टेल अस अबाउट दैट.
अक्षय कुमार की कहानी से पहले मैं आपको थोड़े और पीछे ले जाऊंगा.
प्लीज प्लीज.
मैं अपने करियर का आई हैव डिवाइडेड माय करियर ऑफ द लास्ट 30 years into 3 phases. The first phase was Sunny Deol. He was someone I identified with. The next step was Dharmesh. After that, had signed on a movie for the Moranis, and he had a commitment to do a movie with Amir Khan. And I decided that in that case, I would make my own movie. And I initially did produce, and I wanted the DOP to handle the creatives, but it didn't work out on that level. So I decided to take over the direction and start the movie afresh. And I launched Ajay. Ajay took another 3 years to make, and it was one of the most gorgeously mounted movies, is what I'd call it.
Sunny Deol, Karishma Kapoor.
Sunny Deol, yeah, and Karishma Kapoor was not Karishma Kapoor then. The movie originally starred Juhi Chawla, but because of her date issues, we had to request her to ease out. After shooting on one schedule in Amsterdam, one schedule in Switzerland, I realized, no, this movie will not, it'll just get strayed, stretched. So I requested her to move out. She agreed, and brought Karishma Kapoor in. Karishma Kapoor was all live, at that point of time. Her energy levels were so positive that you could actually feel that a successful movie would be made with her.
Wow.
Yeah, she was wonderful. At the fag end of 1996, I realized this was too long for a movie to be stretched. A movie that could had everything going for it, other than the hero's availabilities. So I said, 1996, 31st December, से पहले ये फिल्म रिलीज कर दूंगा. And I released this movie on the last week of that year. And if you actually understand, the end shot of the movie is not there. I said, yeah, we were supposed to shoot it. Mr. Deol had gone off to London, didn't come back on time. So I said, we can leave it out and still complete the movie, and the audience will watch it. And the movie was very successful at the theatres. It was Delhi, UP, they're all of India, everywhere. The movie it was a big craze.
And there was no ending.
And there was no ending shot. It ends there, but that's a ceremonial ending to films that we create. So there was nothing. When the story finished, the movie ended. I was hoping to move ahead thereafter, but I was actually, जैसे बच्चा निकल रहा होता है, उसको वापस खींच लिया जाता है उंगली से. So Sunny Deol had forced me into a promise that I would support him for the next phase of his career, to which I contributed my 1 year, with a promise from him that he would be taking up my next movie, and to which he was signed, and he had financial obligations were concluded. But he couldn't pull off his movie called London, in London, with Sunny Deol, Bobby Deol and Karishma Kapoor, directed by Gurinder Chadha, because according to me, everyone was available to the film, but he himself somehow was missing out on something, And the movie unfortunately was dropped over there, and they came back, and I thought, well, it was time now that since my commitment period was over, so it's time for my movie to start. And then he started. He asked me for a subject. I narrated the story of Janwar to him, and the first thing he said, he heard me, and he says, Sunil, I think you need to work a little more on this. I said, now the intentions are suspectable. So I decided, I said, no, I'll give him a little time. And there were there were some financial complications there. He needed to return my monies. But that didn't happen. So eventually reached a point at which I said I can't wait anymore for him to, and I moved on. The choice was who next for the subject. I'd almost confirmed Ajay Devgan, who, his secretary came to me and they were keen to do the movie. I had a meeting with Ajay. Ajay loved the subject. It was a Saturday in April, and we were supposed to meet on the Monday to sign the movie. And on Sunday morning, I called from this guy called Akshay Kumar, who I never knew before that. And he said, "Sir, I want to meet you." I said, "Sure. Kya hua?" "No, can I come over?" I said, "Sure, most welcome." 4 o'clock in the evening, he dropped in and he says, "Would you like to work with me?" I said, I was just listening to this guy. I said, "Work with him." The guy has about over a dozen flops by then. There were a few more movies coming thereafter, which also were not showing promise. And so there was no marketability. And so who would take care of for me, things would be difficult. The journey would be very difficult. But there were two things. One was he was offering me 110% of himself. I said, "बोलता है, अगर 10-20% कम भी हो जाएगा तो 90% हो जाएगा ना." I'm used to working with a person who would not even offer 10% of his commitment before that. So I said, this guy makes sense to me. I'll work hard. I'll strive hard. And I knew that I had a sure shot subject. My thing was, even if the most, lowest on the category of this pantheon is there, the subject works, is what the belief was. And I said, "Chalo, theek hai, I'll do the movie subject to my terms." And he was totally in it. I have never seen an actor woo a filmmaker the way I was wooed through that duration. I think Akshay Kumar must be one of the most adorable wooers and boyfriends for the girls he must have, because if he was wooing a filmmaker this way, I mean, those girls must say, we are still sensible business people. And those girls seeing those stars, amazing fellow. And I always loved one thing. He just submitted himself. It was actually a submission of sorts. And yes, having Akshay Kumar was not enough. So I said, "No, I need to cast someone big opposite him." So there were two people I had good connect with. One was Lolo, Karishma Kapoor, and the other was Kajol. So I approached both of them for the two roles in the film, and both said okay. And I had a sigh. I said, "My God, look at me. I've actually managed a movie with Akshay. Okay, even the hero is weak. These two heroines would take care of a lot." And we were about to start the movie. I got a call from Tanuja ji. She says, "Can you meet me, please?" I went over. She says, Sunil, we are committed to you, but we have to apologize. But Kajol is getting married because family is insisting and stuff like that. So I said, "Oh my God, now what?" Because she had a role which was all performance and stuff. And at that point, I don't know how Shilpa came home. She was in connect with my family because Dhadkan had started before that, but they'd stopped filming it because Akshay, the careers of all the three actors were not doing well. And Dharmesh was busy with Mela. So I met Shilpa. She played the same cards as Akshay. Only later I got to know they were into a relationship by then. But and she got into the movie, and she was not his love interest in the movie. So Karishma was very clear. I went to her and I asked her whether she would do the movie because Akshay was there.
But that time you didn't know that they were in a relationship. But they were talking the same language. The way Akshay was pursuing you was exactly how Shilpa was pursuing you.
Yes. And I thought Shilpa, people saw Shilpa as that one item girl kind of a thing. But I thought here's a girl with tremendous gait, personality, and there was a hunger, in the actor to do something. And I was game to have her in. Maybe I could have had choices, but I thought she would still be the best choice. Her personality would rule the whole thing. And Karishma Kapoor was very important for that movie. Because Karishma Kapoor at that point was being signed by, the upper, this thing. And I just asked her, "Would you do the movie?" And Babita ji says, "Of course we'll do the movie. How will you not do your movie?" And they all came in, the movie was made. We released the movie somewhere at the end of 1999. Just 2 months before Janwar's release, one day I was sitting up and Akshay walked in from this door. He came up and he says, Sunji, I'm going through so much problem. What happened? He says the producer of the movie released on Friday tells me he has not put up the posters of this movie. And there's not even a single hoarding put up. I said, Kya hua? What happened? He said, I went to his office and he says, तुम्हारी औकात नहीं है, तुम्हारी फिल्म की होर्डिंग और पोस्टर लग सके. I felt so bad for him, I felt, एक एक्टर का मोराल तोड़ने की कोशिश किया जा रहा था. So the next day, the Sierra was coming next week. I went to Rahul Nanda and Himanshu Nanda's office. I said, book the best site at Jew and put up a huge hoarding of Janwar. Film was due for release 2 months later. And I said, and do one thing, don't put the heroines on the poster, only put Akshay Kumar there. So what people would view as a liability to a project, I was seriously treating him to be the asset there. Wow. I was backing him that way. And Janwar happened, and to be honest, Janwar, maybe Bombay, the same thing, Churchgate se, Borivali tak mein, except for those mass pockets where it would do very well, the film was not lapped up initially. And even the metro, it averaged business in Bombay city. But in India, it was, states like UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan, Punjab, Bengal, the entire, Assam, Orissa, it was a phenomenal success. Again, I have not been a very loud, proclaimer. So I said, success speaks its own language and it gets communicated. And yes, Janwar happened and we moved ahead. And then came Akshay Kumar one day to me and he says, Sunil, I got to know something. I'm very upset. I said, क्या हुआ भैया? अब क्या upset हो गए? तुम्हारी फिल्म चल गई है, तुम्हारी धड़कन शुरू हो गई है, तुम्हारी हेरा फेरी is now also revived and they're all going to start releasing. What is your problem? So he said, I got to know that you are not making your next movie with me. I said, who told you that? He says, I got to know there's a new hero who's come in, whose movie also just succeeded, and you're going to sign him for your next project. I said, no, we just met, his father and me, and his father wanted to show me his rushes. So he invited me to his office, and I watched the rushes. So he says, and he was in tears, and he held my hand, and it was like, actually, how you propose. So he said, promise me one thing, that you will make 100 movies with me. I said, Akshay, 100 बहुत ज़्यादा लगता है. He says, no, मैं आपको promise कर रहा हूँ, ये कर रहा हूँ, वो कर रहा हूँ, whatever. And I thought I'll be honest, even today, I thought doing 7 films with him was a great journey. Not too difficult except for the last. And the moment I realized that things had become difficult, I dropped out.
What were the things that were difficult?
It became difficult because things had been very easy for me. So Akshay Kumar was, he was something of an alter ego, something who would, he had crawled into my system, into my cinema, into the way I thought your younger brother or friend would be. And as I was telling you, I made Ek Rishta with him after that. That was the first time I felt, okay, we succeeded with Janwar. What next? He said, sir, what are you going to do? And then narrated the story, and we were sitting like this. And in the process, he was sitting down on my feet. And I was wondering, what happened to him? He said, sir, itni khoobsurat film, when do you want to start? Let's get it going. Na? I said, sure, let me write the script first. So, because the stories are all mine. So I said, I need 6 months to do that. And he said, fine. In the meanwhile, he would organize this. I said, but you can't sign too many movies because, the clutter will mess things up. Fine, okay. There was the father's role, which was very important. Who comes in? I said, let's see what the destiny wills. Actually, this is the truth. I was wondering, would it be an Anupam Kher or a Kiran Kumar or, one of the actors who were there in this thing. And one day I'm driving to the office and I get a call. And this voice is so familiar, and it is, hello, Sunil, मैं अमिताभ बोल रहा हूँ. So, my God, I said, so just hold on, stop my car on the side. And Amitabh Bachchan approaches you to do your movie. I said, sure, sir, I'll come and meet you and stuff. And he joined in. And Ek Rishta was a very big, at that point, Ek Rishta is a very, very significant step in Akshay's career. Because that gives him legitimacy, that gives him somewhere a credibility. You know, when you're playing Amitabh Bachchan's son at that, I mean, today, okay, Mr. Bachchan has done hundreds of movies, it's playing with everything. It's become a regular feature. But then it was very important because then there were only 3 or 4 movies that he was going to sign on to, which included Hadi's movie and Karan Johar's movie, my movie, and there was a movie for Sanjay Gupta, if I'm not wrong, and there was Rakesh Mehra's movie, which Mr. Bachchan was producing. So, Ek Rishta happened, and Ek Rishta, I remember the first trial show of the movie at Ad Labs. And the movie was on, and so everyone was watching the movie. I knew that the movie was working for everybody. So I just, after a point, I said, let me just go out and sit and take a breather. And suddenly the door opens, and this guy walks out, and he came, and I said, what happened to me? He's rushing to the toilet. And he came to me, and he actually came and touched my feet. And he was so indebted at that point of time for that movie, for those moments that were given to him. And he couldn't believe that Akshay Kumar, who was known to be a khiladi kind of a hero, was actually doing cinema. It was really, it was heartfelt, it was so pure, so honest there. Ek Rishta release, that was also successful. It was time. Then I had to sign on 2 movies. One was for Mr. Pelaj Nilani called Talash, and another movie called Mere Jeevan Sathi for some reasons. And got into them, tried to push them. In the meanwhile, Abhishek and Karishma were seeing each other, and they wanted to do a credible movie together. So Babita ji and me had a talk, and it was decided that I'll produce the movie and I'll ask Dharmesh to direct the movie, because I already had that other thing. The production we looked after. And Dharmesh came on board, and that was like something of Karishma and Dharmesh coming together. They believed in him. And there was one more role in the movie. So the biggest star at that point of time wanted to do a movie with us. And it was just that because I had this very close bonding with Akshay. So my thing was, however big a star, we can't let Akshay down. So he has to be a part of a movie also. And that's how Akshay Kumar came into Haan Maine Bhi Pyar Kiya. Okay. And all the movie was basically about Abhishek and Karishma. So that was made, that got released. And then there were some dates of Akshay's which were lying vacant, which were not occupied. And then I realized that, oh my God, this guy's going to be sitting home for 4 months. Something that was about to happen but did not happen then. So I said, chalo fatafat ek film shuru karte hain. And Andaz was born. So Andaz originally was supposed to star Akshay with Karishma. Was always a part of my movie. That's Chintu ji always said, he used to joke with me, we've childhood this thing, connections. He said that हमारी family का अन्नदाता आ गया. And I used to feel so embarrassed by what he was teasing. He was a great, wonderful guy. So Karishma was supposed to be the movie, but somehow things were not working out. I felt there was no novelty to the project. I spoke to Babita ji, and there was another actress who was also wanting. All actresses would love to do a project then with us. And but I felt there's no novelty to the project. So I was just walking on the road. I have this habit of just going for a walk. I said, how about casting Akshay Kumar with 2 new girls? And I said, 2 new girls? But who are those 2 new girls? So the first girl I saw a photo shoot Akshay had done with Lara Datta for Filmfare cover. She'd won the Miss Universe award.
Yeah.
Right? I said, let's call this girl. So we asked for her, and she was in Bangalore. Then her parents used to live there. So we asked her to come back, and met her. And I signed her on for the movie. I said, I need 1 more girl. Now, who is that? And I'm looking out for a girl, and I get this star secretaries of that time, who's Kannan, who wants to meet me downstairs with a girl he's promoting. I said, ठीक है ऊपर भेज दो. So they came in, and it was the Priyanka Chopra with him. And she came, she sat, I said, I mean, the first look was, I had worked with Kareena Kapoor, Karishma Kapoor, Juhi Chawla, Meenakshi. They were, actresses with very beautiful girls. I said, oh my, this is really different. I made her sit down. I tried to talk to her. In 15 minutes, I was assured of only two things. Either I was going to make a huge success of this girl, or I'm going to be a big disaster.
Okay.
Priyanka Chopra, for me, was his eyes. She had this dark complexion. There were a few defects that she needed to correct at that point of time, but she had the hunger, and she had this mellifluous voice of hers. My God, she was gorgeous. And I said, "Ye ladki," and all this, my entire unit, entire team with Raj Kapoor, Akshay, and whoever was there, would say, "Oh, Lara Datta, Lara Datta." I said, "Lara Datta is good, but the dark horse, the Rekha is coming, and that is this Priyanka Chopra." And that movie was made very fast again. So much of work done, and Andaz, I launched my own music label, launched the music. It was a blockbuster musical for the year. The movie succeeded, and yes, quite of my journey was finished with Akshay by then, because the entire film fraternity, all the directors who by then would either ridicule him, reject him, or avoid him,
Went after him.
were chasing him by then. So that's when, and I always welcome the good directors. As I told you about Aitraaz when that came in. And Akshay and Priyanka both were not keen to do the movie. But I used my little clout, my pressure, my bonding with them to see that they came in. One, Akshay had his issue on the financials. I said, what does it matter? Of little money, less or more in a movie. Think of the project, the credible producer, credible directors, credible music composer coming in. It'll all stand for you. Think in the long run. I always feel that's what actors, who have a long career, if they feel they should actually observe. And yes, and Priyanka Chopra, she said, when she said that she was approached for a vamp's role. And she was so upset. She cried, she went home and she went to sleep. I said, after you wake up, come back to the office. And she was here, and I impressed on her the importance of her doing the role film, and I thought I drilled it into her head. And yes, it was wonderful for them to be in Aitraaz.